Hey, folks, there you are. This is Kurt Von Ahnen. Welcome to another Mañana morning check-in. And, you know, here's the deal. I'm about to just cut out. I'm about to turn off the computer and just tear off and go for a mountain bike ride. Actually, you know what? Probably not even a mountain bike ride. It just occurred to me I need to add some miles pretty quick because I'm in the Stop Soldier Suicide challenge to do 250 miles this month, and I'm a little behind. So I'll jump on the road bike, and the road bike will add some miles up for me. But here it is. I digress. Here's where I'm at with that. Some of you are looking at your clock right now, and you're going, I thought he was in California. It's like lunchtime, and this guy's going to go out for a bike ride. Yeah, I'm going to go out for a bike ride. As an entrepreneur, I can get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I can deal with customers in France and India and Spain while people in America are still asleep. It happens. I also have the ability to go because I have disconnected myself from this sense of grief or guilt that might come from focusing on mental health, mental health and personal wellness. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. Anyway, it's more important. It is more productive for me to go out and exercise and refresh and clean my brain and recenter than it is to push forward through a day that had started out with some obstacles and some things to jump through. In fact, one of the things that I do, and some of you know this, I just put out that if you're on the value-added email 2 weeks ago, you would have gotten a bunch of links about journaling. And I think journaling is like super important. But we went to the Grand Canyon a couple of weeks ago as a family. And here comes this transparency part, right? This is where I share with you. When you're in business, if you run a department, if you work corporately, if you are an entrepreneur and you own your own company, you have a lot of things going on. You got just everything's trying to get your attention. I call it tyranny of the urgent, named after a book that I had read way back in like 2011, little tiny book, Tyranny of the Urgent. It's where life tries to make urgent things more critical or have a higher priority than things that are important. And so when you find yourself in these types of positions, you need to have a tool or a process that kind of recenters you and gets you refocused on that which is important. And for me, that exercise is journaling. And so we went to the Grand Canyon a couple of weeks ago. I fell out of my cycle with journaling, and it's been a little bit of a battle getting back to it. Now, my journal is faith-based. So I'll pick a piece of scripture, I'll read it, I'll think about it, I'll pray about it. I think about what are the three things that I'm grateful for the day, like what makes me grateful. And then I think about goals. I have a prayer that I fill in. And then later in the day, there's a spot where I can go back and I can reflect on, what were the goals? What was I grateful for? How did I accomplish that? And then how do I feel that my faith helped me in that situation? So when I take a look, pardon me, when I take a look at some of the things that I might think about when I journal, today, there was a devotional that popped off the screen at me, and it was John 14:27. And I'll read it to you so I don't screw it up. But it says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." John 14:27. Now, there's different versions, right? There's different translations of scripture, but I think that one kind of communicates really directly, really easy, right? Peace I leave with you. Now, when Jesus was talking about us having peace, it wasn't like, hey, everything's going to be easy. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about nothing. I got you. You ain't got to do nothing. I carry it. It wasn't like that. It was like earlier in scripture, he had told people, hey, it's not going to be easy. There's a long road to hoe here. There's work that needs to be done. But what he's saying is have peace about it. Don't overly burden yourself or suffer from a lot of anxiety. We know that there's work to do. We know that there are things that have to be done. Do the work, right? Take on the challenges, challenge yourself, strive, be driven. But in that, don't be anxious about it. Know that he's got it. He's got it under control. It says, I do not give to you as the world gives. And I will tell you firsthand, in my life experience, that is completely true. So many times I look at the clock and I go, man, look at that. God is late again. Um, there's a client I want to close. There's a project I want to do. There's a car I want to buy. There's a motorcycle I want to ride. There's a bicycle I want to, take up a mountain. And life occurs, and it happens in different stages for folks, right? You're either in a crisis, coming out of a crisis, or soon to enter a crisis, right? And so, life throws you these curveballs, and sometimes things don't work out, and you go, ah, man, the world's out to get me. I'm screwed. And that's not the way God works. At the end of all the crises that I've had, in my cycles, I've been able to look back and go, that gave me growth. That gave me the opportunity to find success. When I didn't like what I was doing in the automotive industry, I wrote a book about it. That book went on to sell a lot of copies that I didn't think were ever going to sell. That book was bought by people at Ducati North America, and that led to me having a training career with motorcycle OEMs for the next decade. So it's like that thing. It's like you take a challenge, it's a challenge. And it's like I've been saying for the last few years, right? We need to find opportunities within the obstacles. And that's how, you kind of recenter your mind and get around that. I'm looking at the rest of my feed. And folks, if you're in business, chances are you're on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. And I'm looking at my feed in LinkedIn and I'm going, ignore, 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 and things I might have clicked on a week or two ago. Chances are you've already made up your mind about how you feel about world events. You have a worldview about what is transpiring around you. And unfortunately, some of us are taking our mind off of the ball. Having a worldview about current events, I don't want to say is urgent versus important. In the end, it's up to you to decide what is important and what is urgent. But I will say, once you've examined enough information or enough of a circumstance to form your own world view, and I say it that way on purpose. I think it's important that you form your own world view. Know what you think, and hey, man, know what you think and know why you think it. Important. Know why you think it. And then if you can, I need to, right? So I'm going to say we need to disconnect from that distraction so that we can focus on that which is important. I say important. The activity that I do today, the activity that I do to finish out this week, the cold calls to dealerships that I don't really look forward to making, because I hate cold calling. I'll just be honest. I hate cold calling, but I know it needs to get done. It's a thing, right? So it's important because if I'm going to grow my business, it's important. Why is business growth so important? People might see this from other countries and look at this live and go, look at this guy, he's so focused on business. How impersonal, doesn't even care about the world. It's not that. But if I fail to earn a living for my family, we become a burden to those around us. So if I'm going to add the most value to my community, to my society, and it goes on and on, right? To my city, to my state, to my country, and eventually to the world, I need to find a way to sustain that. And as an entrepreneur, that's my business. So that becomes important. So by focusing on that which is important over that which is urgent, we're able to make the most forward progress. I've been watching people that I think, that I feel, that's a better way. I've been watching people that I feel have a level of success that I admire. I don't want to say that I wish I had or make it sound like I'm jealous or that thing, but there's people around you or that influence you where you see their behavior or you see their growth and it's an inspiration to you. That's a good way to put that. So I'm looking at people that inspire me and I'm looking at their feed and I'm looking at their motives and I'm looking at their actions, and their actions to me look like they're saying, hey, I'm focused and I'm centered on that which is important and that which I can make a direct contribution to, instead of focusing my energy on negativity and things that I don't have a direct influence on. And so I guess at the end of this message, if we're talking about business and we're making it less and less personal, but more and more business, the business side of this is do the work. Take a moment and figure out, some people have a four square that they do and they go, okay, important here, urgent here, distraction there. They figure that out. Or other people, maybe take a CVI test or a disc test to find, hey, what's my main drivers? What's my main motivation? And how can I work best in my sweet spot? If you have any questions about any of those terms or things I just said, feel free to reach out, hit me with a comment, hit me in the website, you hit the contact link, reach out to me, whatever you want to do there. But there are tools out there that will help you get refocused on what is your sweet spot? How can you add the most value? How do you consider something important versus something urgent or a distraction? And how can you guard yourself from things that take you out of play? I say it that way on purpose. There are things that have happened in the last couple of years, quite honestly, and I'm being transparent here, that have taken me out of play. There are things that have happened that I will have zero influence on, but I let the subject matter take me out of play. If I didn't focus so much energy on becoming so educated on certain things that happened over the last couple of years, chances are I would have grown the Power Sport Academy by another $300,000 or $400,000 this year or last year. That is something to really think about. Now, I'm not really big to talk about regrets and things like that. I don't really regret the critical thinking and what I consider research and things that I educated myself with. I don't consider that a waste, but if I would have spent less time and less energy on those things that quite honestly were a distraction, I would have been able to put that time and energy as an entrepreneur into growing my business, which would have lent my family more sustainability and would have allowed me to add more value to the dealers I consult with and add financial stability to them as well, which is my core mission. My core mission is to add as much value to as many people as possible while I'm here on this planet. And it doesn't happen by being negative and commiserating with people about what they think is really happening behind the scenes. To step out and take action and push things forward and be positive is what's going to move us forward as a people group. So the more we can do that, the better off we're going to be. I hope this helps. Sometimes I share things that are personal and some of the comments I get are, wow, is this like a vlog, a personal vlog, or is this a business thing? I share them. I do it live on YouTube. So, the Mañana morning check-in is done live on YouTube. You can check in with that or subscribe to that whenever you want. But I also put the repost, the replay up on LinkedIn for my business friends that want to kind of understand more about thinking or drivers or things that deal with communication and leadership, or how they can impart some of this wisdom on their staff and their people. So I hope this adds value to you. And if you're interested in bringing in communication and leadership training at your company, at an office level, or you're interested in what it would look like to have me come in and present to your staff, reach out. I would love the opportunity. Again, my mission is to add as much value to as many people as possible while I'm here on this planet. So if you think there might be value in me coming in to present to your company about communication, leadership, well-being, being centered, building a proper culture in a company so that when the culture is established, you can examine your processes and procedures to grow productivity and efficiency. If that's something that makes sense to you, reach out. I would love to do a needs assessment with you and figure out how we could best add value to that situation. Folks, have yourself a wonderful day. And if I'm absent for the next couple of days, it's because I'm having a ton of fun with my son. We're going to the Mint 400 and volunteering there to work this week with Matt. I think his last name is Martelli, Matt Martelli, in the Mint 400. So